Hi guys. Hello. I am sorry I have to be gone today, but Mr. Johnson is going to take care of going over the syllabus with you guys today. So hopefully he's handed those out to you or is doing so right now. And I'm going to just go over it with you because I have some things that I'd like to talk about that aren't necessarily on here. And just make sure that I highlight the important things that I want you to know. Alright, so looking at the syllabus, we start out with just my information. Obviously you know where the room is and stuff, but what I wanted to talk about is the meeting times on there. I will be here at 7:30 every morning, so obviously we actually have until about 8:20, from 7:30 to about 8:20, that you could potentially be in my room meeting, talking about things during that time, and then also staying till 4 after school. So when classes get out until that 4 o'clock time, we could also meet up. And you can just feel free to walk in during those times and say, hey, I'd like to talk. If I'm with somebody already, maybe I'll say, hey, can we reschedule? When would be a good time? Or if you know ahead of time, if you shoot me an email, then I will for sure designate that time for just the two of us to talk. So those are the times, and then like I said, also by arrangement. So if you have things before and after school that those times don't work for you, I can always stay later or come a little earlier if that works better into your schedule. So if you just let me know, really try to make myself available to meet with you. Please don't let it be an excuse that I didn't make myself available, because here's your times and you know how to set up those meeting times with me, okay? Next on our syllabus we have the mission statement, which I'm sure you guys have seen around the school quite a bit, but we're really trying to emphasize that this school year and really have that be something that every teacher in every class is talking about. And it's really important for me because it's also my personal goal for us this year, okay? So particularly our mission is to engage, inspire, and empower you guys, as well as our teachers working together to empower each other. But my personal goal is to engage, inspire, and empower you guys to learning about chemistry this year. I want to make it fun. I want to make it something that you're engaged in, that you're excited to come to class and excited to do the experiments and the work. So we're going to work really hard, you guys and myself, to create some projects that you guys are excited about as well as I'm excited about, because what I get excited about in science may not be necessarily what you guys get excited about. So hopefully we can find some common ground there and create some really fun experiments and projects for you guys to learn chemistry this year. And that's something that you guys and I'll talk about more as we go forward. But start thinking about some of those things, what you would like to be doing in chemistry, or how you'd like to learn about the information that we're going to be talking about this year. So next we have the course description, and that just kind of gives a quick overview to you guys of some of the things that we're going to be talking about this year. I'll let you guys go over those yourself. It does mention in there that we're going to be doing some computer-based stuff as well as hands-on labs. So you guys had me for biology, or if you did, you know that I kind of like to go back and forth between doing a hands-on experiment in the lab and then also using our computers and doing some virtual labs or virtual little games and things like that to help reinforce our learning. So we will be using both of those components. The textbook is on there next, and that is something that when I get back tomorrow I will get to you guys. Right now we have 75 textbooks and 70 kits, so there is enough for each of you to have your own and to check it out and take it with you. If you don't want to take it with you because you're like, I'm going to lose this, I can't take care of a textbook, that's fine. We have plenty of storage spaces in the classroom for you to kind of tuck your book away and then just come in and get it each day if that's what you'd prefer. I know some of you really like to have that copy of the textbook to reference and to look at and things like that as we go. So that's going to be kind of up to you. We won't have assigned readings overnight. You'll do the readings in class, and we'll try to do them as a group mostly. But we will be using that textbook to kind of guide our learning and give us at least a starting point for each unit. So the next page then, if you turn, is standards-based grading. And again, for those of you who had biology last year with either Mrs. Hervel or Mrs. Forsyth, you should know what standards-based grading is about and how that works. But I did write up a little bit of a review here in case we have some new kids or for whatever reason you didn't take biology with those guys. Just the general idea of it is that our grading is based on the standards that I get from the state and actually at the national level now. And your assessments is what we call it, not tests. Your assessment at the end of each unit will be scored out of 4. So your goal would be to reach that 4, which would be that above and beyond. You really got the content and you were able to apply it to the world around you. A 3 being you got the content, but maybe you didn't quite go above and beyond. Maybe you just showed a few errors in your thinking. 2, you had some errors. You got some of it, but you had quite a bit that you also didn't understand. A 1, you showed just basic level understanding of the content and had quite a few errors. And then 0 or incomplete would mean that you just really didn't show any type of understanding. And it goes on in here to say that a 2 or lower you'd need to reassess. So you'd be required to retake the assessment or take a different type of assessment, but we would be looking at reassessing. Now, something that's important is that if all of you guys do not do well on an assessment, we would not all reassess. We would probably go back, and if we're looking at, most of the class didn't do well, then we're going to go back, we're going to spend more time on it, and we're going to see, okay, what are we not getting and how can I help you guys understand it a little bit better. But we're not just going to move on if a majority of the people are not understanding what we talked about with the standard. So hopefully that's a little bit reassuring to you guys. The last part of this talks about that your grade will be made up of those assessments, the 21st century skills, and the lab reports. Now remember also, I think I skipped over this, you can always reassess. Even if you got a 3 and you're like, I really want to push myself to a 4, you could always reassess. 21st century skills, you should be familiar with those. That's your work habits in the classroom, how you interact with your peers, how you work as a teammate. Are you being safe and respectful with the lab equipment when we do labs? Those types of things. And lastly, lab reports. I don't know that that's something that you've done in the past, but because this class is really designed to be preparing you guys for college level, that is something that you will need to know in order to move up to that next level of science in college is lab reports, because you'll be doing quite a bit of those. So hopefully we can kind of get you started on lab reports so that you are familiar with those by the end of the year and can write those pretty easily. Those will just be graded like typically similar to an English paper. So is it organized? Do you use proper grammar and sentence structures? And then also, did you learn from your your experiment? Did you show understanding of what you did? No extra credit, which again you should be familiar with from other classes, because you can always reassess. So that reassessment opportunity takes that extra credit need off the table. Because if you didn't do well on an assessment and you could have done better, then you should reassess, rather than giving you extra work to do or something for extra points. That's not our goal. Our goal here is for your understanding, not to be going after points. Okay, so let's move on. Attendance policy. All right, this just, again, I'm not going to read this because you guys know how to read. You need to be in class on a day-to-day basis, regularly, not missing days, especially in chemistry and these upper level classes, which I'm guessing a lot of you are starting to get into, because we're going to be moving fairly quickly. This content is a little bit more difficult to understand than maybe your freshman and sophomore classes. So you need to be present every day, because if you do miss a day, you're going to need to spend some time working outside of class to get caught up, on what we talked about and did that day. It also talks in this part about if we do a lab and you're not present, you're going to be needing to come in either before or after school the following day or whenever you get back and complete that lab, because all the labs that we do are super important to adding to your learning. And if you don't do the lab because you're not present, then you're really going to be missing out on an important piece of your learning, that hands-on part. So do be thinking, if you're going to be gone, hey, okay, I know I'm going to be gone ahead of time. I'd like to make this lab up ahead of time. I can get it set up for you. That's not going to be an issue. But you do need to have those labs made up in a timely manner, because I can't be getting out stuff from first quarter labs in second quarter. That's not going to help you. It needs to be done, before our assessment, so that you got the information that you needed to from that lab. So try to do that as quickly as possible as far as making up a lab if you miss a lab day. All right, last 2 pages. We're halfway through, guys. Thank you for bearing with me on this. Classroom expectations. I have 2 simple rules, and I feel like they kind of encompass everything in the classroom. First, show respect. And then I talk a little bit about what that includes. Obviously, showing respect can mean a lot of different things. You need to be respecting your peers. You need to be respecting yourself. Others' learning time. Respect the classroom. Okay, sorry about that. I had an interruption there. So, respecting your classroom. Okay, we're not going to be messing with the desks, the chairs. Obviously, you guys are upperclassmen. I don't expect you to be worrying about any of these issues. They're largely for my 9th graders, but, just make sure they're covered so that you guys are understanding. And then, obviously, respecting me. I promise to be spending quite a bit of time on getting these activities ready for you and making them as interactive and exciting as possible. So that means you guys need to be respecting my time too, and working hard, coming to class ready to go. If I ask you to do something outside of class to prepare for the following day, I expect that to be done. That's respecting me. Those are all part of respecting me. So, second rule, do your best. Okay, do yourself a favor this year and really put in 100% effort. Not doing your best is just, you're cutting yourself short. So make sure you're doing your work that's asked of you and coming to class ready to go, ready to learn. I know high school, there's lots of other social things going on, and your extracurricular activities are always taking up that mind space. And I always try to listen to you guys and take some time at the beginning of class to hear about what's going on in your life. What's stressing you out that day? Did you have a tough weekend? How's your week going? I try to be mindful of those things because I remember what it's like to be in high school, and I remember thinking chemistry is not on my mind right now. I have so many other things going on. So hopefully if we can talk about some of those things and be open and honest with one another about our top priorities and what's on our mind, then we can kind of talk about those things. Say we're going to set our mindset to chemistry, and we're going to learn about chemistry, and then we're going to go out of the classroom, and then we're going to deal with those things. So, okay, almost done here, guys. Last two sections, and then we'll cover our outline. So, class requirements. You will also be getting a lab safety contract, which I think you're probably familiar with from some other classes, maybe not, but we'll go over that again also tomorrow with some of the experiments that we're doing. You're going to have to be mindful of safety and obviously working with chemicals and glass and things like that. So we'll go through your lab safety contract, and part of your requirement, or really your only requirement, is to get that lab safety contract turned back into me, because you won't be able to participate in labs until then. Okay, finishing up class requirements here. You will need to have a notebook for this class and a pen or pencil or whatever you choose to write with, maybe a highlighter or a few different colors depending on how you like to do your notes. We will be doing some me talking and you guys taking notes, or us having a back and forth discussion where you need to take some notes. So notebook and something to write with every day. Please don't come to class without that. Please, please, please. Really big pet peeve. Right? I'm telling you right now, beginning of the year, every single day, notebook, something to write with, okay? Now, you might not use it every single day, but just come with it every day, and then you're ready to go, no matter what. Also, if you are one of those people who is going to take your textbook with you and check it out, which is totally fine, make sure that you bring that to class also, okay? What else? I think that might be it for class requirements. So then plagiarism and cheating and academic integrity. Again, I'm not going to read over that. You guys know what that is. We're going to be doing some lab reports, and that's probably where your plagiarism is going to come in the most. Cheating and things like that, I think that's a little difficult, honestly, on the assessments that we have to cheat. But, I want to know what you know, not what your partner or your neighbor or somebody else knows. So, yeah, just be honest about that. And then plagiarism, like I said, just be mindful while you're looking up things on the internet for your lab reports and other people's work. You're going to have to be putting other people's work in your lab reports. So just always make sure to put their citation, and we'll work with that during lab reports. If you don't know how to do all that, make sure you cite them, okay? I'd prefer that you cite where you don't need to cite than not include it. Okay, last thing. Here we go, outline, okay? How this is set up is the first column has the number of quarter and then a backslash followed by the week. So like the very first line is first quarter, week 1, topics, and then chapters covered. Okay, so for our first week, we're covering lab safety and equipment, syllabus, things like that. So you don't need to worry. Hopefully our last interruption. Okay, let's finish this up here. So, okay, quarter, and then the week, and then the topic. So like week 2, we're going to be covering introduction to chemistry, some basics into chemistry, and then phases of matter, and those are chapters 1 and 2 in our textbook. I know that this outline is going to change. I know it is. Being a first-year teacher, I am not really sure how quickly we'll move through material, and also it kind of depends on the class, how ready you guys are to move on, or not. So we'll take these things slower if we need to, take a couple weeks over things if we need to. This is just kind of a general outline so you guys kind of know what to expect and how we're going to be moving through at least the first semester, which I'm looking at now. I should have changed that quarter to 2, but anyway, at least the first semester we'll be moving through this information. So you can look to have 2 assessments over 4 to 5 standards before we end the first semester, hopefully around Christmas break or so. That'll give us some good grades to have in the grade book and things like that. On here are not lab reports. I haven't decided officially what labs we'll be doing lab reports over. We'll just kind of see as we go which ones we're enjoying and doing well with, and we'll use those for lab reports then. The first part of the semester, or the first semester, is going to be a lot more intense and chemistry based than the second semester. Second semester we're going to move to some other more physics concepts and some earth science stuff and some engineering stuff. So the first semester is what's really going to be the intense chemistry stuff, and then the second semester we're going to kind of break off and do some other little projects that we need to do to get our other standards fit in here. So when I get back tomorrow, feel free to ask any questions. Take this home, show your parents so they kind of know what the year is going to look like for you. We'll get textbooks. We'll start to cover lab safety and lab equipment. So I think that's all you need to know about the syllabus. And now you guys will have a short survey to take, which most of you took with me in biology. It's kind of a getting to know you survey so that I can get the class tailored to some of your interests and get to know you guys a little bit better. So if you'll complete that, it'll be on Google Classroom, and I will see you guys tomorrow.